Now to FBI Director Kash Patel, who has fired at least 6 agents tied to the 2022 search of President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. That's what 6 people familiar with the matter tell NBC News. But 3 of those sources say at least 10 employees were ultimately dismissed. As you may recall, the FBI search was connected to the federal investigation into President Trump's handling of classified documents after he left the White House in 2021. He had pleaded not guilty and denied any wrongdoing. That case was ultimately dismissed by a judge who was appointed by President Trump. Joining us now, NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba. Monica, walk us through what we've learned about these employees who were fired, and has there been any response from the White House or the FBI at this point?
Yeah, you mentioned that there were those agents we know were dismissed, about 6 of them, but in total, we're told that these were 10 employees who work for the FBI. So that ranges to actual agents, to support personnel, and even including supervisors. And the FBI itself has not commented on this beyond a statement from the FBI director himself, Kash Patel, who is speaking out about a matter that appears to be connected to this overall, which we're going to get to in a moment. But the White House isn't weighing in either. The only statement that we're seeing is from the FBI Agents Association that is expressing its dismay with the fact that these people now have been removed from their posts. Apparently, they say, in coordination with this investigation they were a part of. They write in this statement that they condemn the unlawful termination of FBI special agents, which, like other firings by Director Patel, violates the due process rights of those who risk their lives to protect our country. And the reference there to these other investigations is the idea that agents who were also involved in looking into people who rioted on January 6th have also been removed and fired, in addition to other agents who were involved in investigations that were looking into then candidate Donald Trump before he won the White House for a second time. Zinclay.
And Monica, there is also some reporting about the FBI obtaining Kash Patel's phone records during the Biden administration. That's when he was still a private citizen. What should we know there?
Yeah, so these firings that we just discussed came on the same day that it was revealed and reported by Reuters that these call logs, calls between Kash Patel and Susie Wiles, who is now the White House chief of staff, were obtained by the FBI under the previous administration, under the Biden administration. And Director Patel is reacting in a statement to that, saying that he is outraged by that, saying that he is disappointed in that. And he is also saying he is deeply alarmed and saying that it was secretly subpoenaed. He goes on to ascribe a motive to all of this that we have not been able to confirm. But these 2 stories taken together just reflect, Zinclay, some of the turmoil at the FBI that we have seen in recent days.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.